Hi guys, this is a English version of The Big Game. I had it to do last night, but I got a little bit headache here, so because of the sun thingy what happened last day. So yeah, let's go to review. Do you remember those times when first time when you watched E.T. or like Goonies or like even Die Hard or those 80s movies that you really love? The first time when I saw like about, let's see, Jurassic Park, that film was awesome. And when it comes to playing these imaginary games when we were a child, I wanted to be like a race car driver, or always I wanted to be like a cop or whatever. I just wanted to be one of those protectors of the world. I'm just like everything's gonna be protective, everything, and and it's very easy for Hjalmar Helander to say in Big Game that even if you were a child, this film is all of us that we live in this era of 90s and 80s and 90s. Sorry. And it was very uneasy to tell people that you really need to see this film, because it's basically what your childhood was. But it's not the way you can see saving the President of the United States from terrorists. It's not that. It's how we imagine those things. And the story goes in this movie is this very young guy, about 13 years old, called Oscar, and he is in this kind of ritual movement to go in the forest for one night and bring a prey for his dad and other fellow hunters to prove that he's a man. And his father is very much he is one of the most notable hunters in the world, and of course his kids really wants to impress his father for bringing this prey. So all along, Air Force One, the presidents of United States, let's just say POTUS, it's very POTUS's plane is flying of course. A major terrorist attack happens. The plane crashes down here in Finland's Lapland, and of course it happens at the same time when this kid is hunting with his bow and arrow. Of course there is something on lunch, of course, and he has this very little ATV, if I remember, of course, and so the kid meets the president. The president is under attack, and of course, the kid is very like, I want to protect you all my life. And the whole film is about 24-hour safety trip to protect the president and bring him back alive, basically. And of course, the whole idea for this film is very ridiculous, stupid, and just not funny. But when it comes to seeing the scale of the film, it's a major scale. The first time when the movie opens and we see all these high mountains, and of course this film was filmed in Germany and of course in the Alps, a major plot twist. We don't have these kind of mountains in Lapland, people, so it's we have very little hills, of course, but no, not this kind of vast mountains. But of course it's supposed to be very like European looking film. And sorry, I started to laugh. Of course I laughed. And of course the film looks like it is supposed to be B movie. It's not looking like an A-class movie, but let's just say it's like a hidden A-class movie, but it looks like B movie. It's very much what you want to expect it. And I like the action sequences in this film. They're just amazingly great, choreographed, Especially the freezer scenes, they're just amazingly funny. Or let's just say, what if I just... My favorite stunt in this whole film is... what is my favorite stunt? There are very little stunts, but they're just amazingly good looking. Of course, the freezer scene when it goes down to the hill, that is just goddamn hilarious. And you know, it's pretty much everything that you want to see in a Hollywood film, but this is in a Finnish scale, so it's not very big or vast or just, you know, amazing, but it's enormous. This film is enormous for its own scale, and you know, it's pretty much like a hidden version of Die Hard meets Home Alone meets Rambo and Spielberg. It's almost what I wanted to say myself. And it's not very hardcore. There's not going to be, you know, blood scurps on the over. It's very, you know, like, you know, harmless 80s action film, but when you, it's not very, you know, it's very, you know, blah 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 blah. It's going, you know, heads going to blow it out whatever. But about the casting, Adi Tamila plays a very great part as Oscar. It's very, you know, like a kid in a kid's movie. It's not, you know, those generic kids who go, I'm gonna be tough. No, this kid is a very, you know, it's harmless, but it's very, you know, he has a soul, of course, and he is not this kind of, you know, like you know, very scary cat. But when he witnesses that the president is under attack, he goes like, I want to do this job. I don't want to, you know, get away from this. And and it's very basic, of course, to see Samuel Jackson in this other part. Of course, he is the main cast of the film, of course, in the posters. But for me, Samuel Jackson is more like let's just say, as a president, he's kind of lame, for my opinion. But he is supposed to be. Presidents aren't supposed to be these very action heroic guys. Remember Independence Day? The president goes under the plane and, you know, goes to destroy aliens. What? No. Presidents are supposed to be these very, you know, real persons in real situations, to act like real situations. Samuel Jackson brings this level very good. He is funny. Sometimes he's very almost good when it comes to in drama parts, but in screenplay, whatever you Helander did, you did a great job. This is one of the most coolest presidents in movies, and and it's very much, you know, harmful to say, but let's just say heartful to say that the villains in this movie are your basic villains. And Ray Stevenson, you're a great actor. I just love your parts when it comes to, you know, Punishers or other films. Here you are great, but not that great. It's not the way you want. I want to see a bad guy. I just want to see, you know, a bad guy being a bad guy. But you're more like you look at the Bane or the other, you know, those important, you know, scale of and, you know, villains of course. I'm gonna spoil anything, but you watch it yourself. And Mehmet Kurtulur, who played this this bad guy, I would remember his name, but he was supposed to be like, you know, this Hans Gruber kind of like die-hard villain, you know, with his old accent. I laughed myself, you know, really for my ass off this part. I was like, this is silly, but it's funny silly. It's not, you know, this like, you know, that is so silly, but this guy is so funny. And this guy is really good as playing a villain, but it's not as good as like Christoph Waltz or like, you know, let's just say all the other great bad guys, you know, like Gary Oldman, Leon or whatever. But no, I would recommend is from my opinion, he is one of the best villains in all the cinema films, of course, when it comes to Die Hard. I say Hans Gruber. Mehmet Kurtulur, you're great, but I will hope to see you more in films and as in the main part of a villain. I think you're going to be doing a great job. Of course, there's our other cast members. Of course, we have Felicity Huffman, Jim Broadbent, Vincent Garber, and Ted Levine. And what else did we have? That's about it. Those are the main characters. There are those essential Pentagon guys, of course. There's this, like a basic emotional level, of course, of what's gonna happen. If you watch Jim Broadbent's acting in this movie, you remember he is an Academy Award nominated actor. I'm gonna spoil anything, but this guy is amazing in this movie. Watch it yourself and you witness what happens for Broadbent's character. And I didn't expect this. I was like, this was a great twist. Some people it was like, it's not a good twist. For me, it was a basic good twist, of course. And before I wrap this review, I have to say, Big Game really surprised me. It was very funny, nostalgic. It had a good action. There was no parts when I was going to be, no, this is stupid. It looked great. The cinematography was great. I really love the landscapes. I really love the actions are just enormous. Samuel Jackson is brilliant. Antti Tammila is brilliant. His father, Jorma Tommila, he plays his son, his dad, was great. And before I wrap this up, if you were a Finnish watcher and you see this film and you see and hear when people like Samuel Jackson is pronouncing names like Tapio and Oskari, you're gonna laugh your ass off. It's very hilarious to see when Samuel Jackson is trying to speak Finnish. I'm like, God damn it. So it's very basic to say, Big Game gets my review 4 out of 5. It's 4 out of 5. It's great. It's not spectacular, but it's a vast, enormous, funny action film in this year. And I hope when it comes to in USA for you, I hope you're really gonna get a very okay summer movie kind of way to say. But I will wish people to watch this film, and then you're gonna see your exports after that. I'm gonna say one thing, but I believe Hjalmar Helander is going to make these kind of homage films for the films that we always loved. Rare exports was a thing for Finland. Big Game is our diehard. I'm Mixutin87. I'm quitting this review up right now, and I'm gonna spend my Saturday very, 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 very cool. See ya.